Namaste. Welcome to the another audience interaction session of Novilmash podcast. So today, as you can see from the topic that we have selected, it is called the. We are having a series. It's a series of podcasts. It's called a Hindu civilizational question. So today's topic is Hindu civilization? Are Hindus on the brink of extinction? And if it's there, then what would be the response and how it can have a resurgence? If not, it's an open question to everybody. If we are not at the brink of extinction, what are the signs that it is strengthening, it is resurging, it is exploring new frontiers? So we're going to discuss this open question. It's raining in Siliguri. Good, good, good. So I have shared the link. It's an audience reaction podcast. So I have shared the live link to the channel members. So if they are in the stream now, or if they want to join, they can join us by going to the community post. In the community post, you have a members only post where you have the link available. For other people, I will open up the link little bit later for the rest of the audience. So let's start with our guest Anand.
Namaskaram. Evening to everyone in India and morning to everyone in the other side of the world if you're watching.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think? The question that we have posed for the audience today, and also we have this book that we have read just recently, a few hours ago, on Shatrughat and Swayambhu. So what do you think? Hindus as a society, Hindus as a civilization, are we facing existential level threat?
You will always face an existential level threat. And that's the one thing you need to know about civilizations. If you don't maintain it, it will be destroyed by the next. Because change is, even Krishna says very clearly, change is the only thing that is a constant. And if you don't work to manage that change, the change will modify you, right? Like the Kauravas thought they'll keep the land they stole from the Pandavas, but because they didn't prepare in terms, they lost. They lost ultimately because dharma was against their things. And their story might have been different if they were not so dharmic. They behaved without understanding their role in society. Imagine like Krishna even says, no, if you had given that 5 villages to the 5 Pandavas, they're not born. So they didn't work at maintaining their dharma, which is the same thing with India, right? With the Hindu civilization, you don't maintain it, don't work at maintaining your dharma, then you lose it. And
so what you are mentioning is that is quite interesting. Is that a civilization will always be under siege? Correct. It will be a constant thing. Correct.
yes,
So if that is the thing, then how the societies, like how that for 2000 years or whatever may be the numbers we don't go there, but for thousands for millennia we were the most prosperous civilization on this earth, correct?
yes.
So at that time, how did you, in your perspective, how did we manage to retain our prosperity for more than a millennia?
So I told this in another, you were talking in another stream, and I said it's about systems. You have to build systems. I'm not looking at the comments, sorry.
Yeah, I saw it. Okay, so Alan, would you like to explain what is the red spot?
I said, oh, what you're wearing? Oh, I mean, It is I'm not religious, but I think the red spot fundamentally is that you are taking or say blessings from so basically it's like what do Hindus do in temples? They go give their presence felt the divinity within the focus in the temple, which is basically the Bhagwan, and they take back blessings saying in that interaction. Basically, either take tilak kumkum in Vaishnava temples, or you take vibhuti in Shaiva temples, right? So basically, that's what it is. It's basically you're interacting with that divinity and saying, I have interacted with you, and I take away the positive vibes from the interaction with you. If you take it in the more general sense, in the Hindu sense, it's just taking blessings. It is
Okay, I think the audience might not be like Hindus in general. So let me for
sure.
to actually tell them a little bit out. So if you can see the screen here, if you see the screen here, it is called a tilak. So what I am wearing, this is now round or like a hexagonal. It's a like a North Indian tradition, but in South Indian tradition or many other sects we have in Hindus. So by the tilak that we wear, actually it signifies which sect we belong. So okay, let me see. So if you can see, if you can read the screen, it looks like this. So I'm not wearing any of these because I'm not part of these sects. So it's a religious symbolism, like people who wear cross, correct? People who wear cross. So it's like you can consider as a equivalent to Christian cross that people wear who are devout Christian. So as I am a Hindu, practicing Hindu, so I wear a tilak to actually tell that okay, I am a practicing Hindu. Some people are not, but generally that would be the case. Okay, very good. Yes, it's an interesting thing. Okay, thank you very much. Now, Anand, so let's get back to our discussion.
Right.
So,
Systems. Basically, the way the historically Hindus have been very resilient is because they've created systems. They built systems for every community. So each community has to, and remember, it's a we are not a single how to call it hierarchical system where one person tells everyone else how to work. Even among certain sects, right? The guru or the head of the sampradaya will give a guideline,
mm,
but that guideline is transitioned through the society via the family members. So it's a family traditional system. So the family members we consult the guru regularly, but more majority of the traditions are passed on through family knowledge. So your mother and your aunts and your uncles will learn this knowledge through practice, and they take on the responsibility of passing on these traditions and these systems to their children. It is a collective group responsibility. It is not a single person responsibility. So, for example, in Christianity, the pastor or the pope or the cardinal takes the responsibility of keeping the flock in line. But Hinduism is not like that. In Hinduism, the family members, your elders take the responsibility of educating and bringing forward the next generation. But when that's the thing they're facing right now. We're facing because the elders in our community, while they passed on some messages, they didn't pass on they passed on without understanding. So the next generation who encompassed modernity didn't understand why they were being passed on to them. What is the reason? They wanted to know why. But the elders didn't have the answers. So the kids are like, oh, why should I practice? And they stop practice. So the responsibility of passing on is not passing on to the next generation. The next generation is like, why should I pass it on to the next generation? So that's the issue we are facing right now. And that is what we need. We need new solutions to pass on these traditions. New explanations and traditions we need for that. And without that thing, you're not going to be able to pass it on. Some groups like ISKCON and what's the word from what's the guys from Bengal, Swami Vivekananda guys. What's the guy? What's the name? If forgetting the name.
Ramakrishna Mission.
Ramakrishna Mission. They found different ways of keeping the tradition. Same with Sadhguru. He's finding a different way of keeping traditions alive.
Mm.
So that is the true test of how you would keep the Hindu tradition alive, Hindu culture alive.
Okay, so actually, I read this book. Correct? If you see this book here, so I read this book called Swayambodhan Shatru.
Mm.
So in this book, well, I learned a few things. So one of the things I learned was uh, that, as you mentioned, correct. So any civilization will be having in constant struggle with the other ideologies in that sense, and they would have mechanisms to actually deal with them. Now, if you use and there was a one number data which is shared, which was that when the first Muslims had come to subcontinent, India, Indian subcontinent, there were about 600 million Hindus residing in that at the time in India. After after the conquest of the Delhi Sultanate, or maybe that data is available there. But after some time, there were about 200 million Hindus left. So the numbers had gone down by 1.5 times in terms of population reduction of Hindus. So, and the book also mentions that the Abrahamic theologies, the Abrahamic ideologies, have a different outlook towards people who are non-believers, and that's why I have mentioned. That's why I mentioned in the title, "Brink of Extinction," because you had Hans, Shakas, Kushans, Huns, who came, but they were not in ideology were trying to eradicate Sanatan Dharma. Yeah, they had different sects, but they finally integrated with the Hindu faith, and they became part of it, and we also absorbed them. With the advent of Islamic invasions, okay, uh, there is a bit of a change of perception. Perception is that the fundamental ideology of Abrahamism, specifically Christianity, evangelicals, and the Muslims in general, is to eradicate the native uh, sects and impose Christianity or Islam on top of that. That's why I have made this type called "Brink of Extinction," because because for thousands of years we had people invade us, but they are different kind of people who invaded us. The advent of Islam is a different kind of invasion, which is actually poses a existential threat to our existence.
No, so I say a little bit more of not specifically Islam, but more of the ideology of a one. Like, see, again, I'll give you an example. I was watching this
Hmm.
video of the Hindus who have settled in Texas,
Hmm, hmm,
right?
hmm,
So there was there's a giant Hanuman statue there, okay?
hmm,
And
hmm,
there's this
hmm, hmm,
Vaishnava Brahmana being interviewed by this white guy,
hmm,
okay? So he says this is the problem with Hindus generally. So
hmm,
we are what
hmm,
we do is we moderate our identity or what
hmm,
our community states to suit the other, which others don't do. The Buddhists don't do it, the Christians don't do it, the Muslims don't do it, the Jews don't do it. But we do it. It is very interesting. You observe, they do it. So he is saying this statue is, people call it a demon, but they say it's out of ignorance. No, no, he is representing unity.
hmm.
No, Hanuman doesn't represent unity. First of all, that's very important. He's not represent unity or anything. He doesn't represent unity of Jews, Christians, Muslims, and Hindus and all that. He doesn't represent that. He's saying no, no. He represents unity, but all are confused because we all pray to one God. He literally tells the interviewer, "We pray to one God." But technically, it's not true because from the structure of the way Hindus structure it, there is no, the universe is the good divinity. Universe,
Hmm.
Brahma is the divinity. We represent it by our own personal, the way we represent divinity. But the way Christians, Muslims, and Jews represent it is not like that. They are purely Dvaita. Like the God is separate, the God is ultimate, he controls directly society. He created original sin. He made you a sinner by birth, which that's not part of our the theology. Right? We may represent one God, but we don't believe in original sin, which is a very important distinction we should make. But
Exactly, exactly.
we don't believe in the fact that God has injected you with original sin. That you're a sinner the day you're born. We say no, it's different. You behave badly, you build sin, and you pay price chita at the
Yeah.
end.
So you correct the concept of prarabdha karma. The
Yes.
karma theory comes in.
But even there, it is very simple. It is it's your personal
Exactly. Exactly.
responsibility. It is not something the creator has or the
Exactly.
universe has input on you without your
There is no
consent.
external factor. There is no external factor. It's only internal factors.
And you either take Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, whoever is saying it. They're not telling you that you are born with sin because of the way what I have decided in original sin. So we have to be, we're not distinctly saying this is what our distinct idea is. Either you like us or you don't like us, that is your problem, but we are existing. It's just saying that the argument should be the Constitution of the US allows for us to represent our religion in any form of worship. You either change the Constitution or you accept us the way we are. That should be the argument, not that oh we are all worshiping the one God, which is the problem with Hindus right now, even today.
Yes.
That's why
Okay.
our
So
culture will not the culture and the tradition will not persist if we become homogenized with what they are. If we become the same as them, then we are not the same. They can just become everyone can become Christian then. Why should we remain Hindu? And that's why you see a lot of Christians in South India doing Hindu traditions. Then you say, oh, how can you do Hindu traditions? Because obviously it's the same God, right? They go to church and pray to the same God. They're just using our traditions. So you lose the argument there. That's the problem.
okay, so let me actually share you some information. Now, like also the audience also will, if they want, they can come and join little bit late, not now, maybe after 15 to 20 minutes. So let me share my screen and show you something, and maybe you can play it as well. See if we can play this.
फिक्स रेट है
लव जिहाद जो एक टर्म है, कितना सीरियस प्रॉब्लम है ये?
बहुत सीरियस प्रॉब्लम है जो फिल्मों में दिखाया जा रहा है ये कुछ नहीं है जो केरला स्टोरी में दिखाया गया कुछ नहीं है एग्जांपल आप देख लीजिए उत्तर प्रदेश से पकड़ा गया कांगुर जलालू 800 जिलों में से 600 जिलों में उसका नेटवर्क 5000 गुर्गे उन गुर्गों का एक ही काम लड़कियों को ट्रैप करके उनको कन्वर्ट करना मथुरा भगवान कृष्ण की जन्मभूमि है सबसे ज्यादा पंडा पुजारी मथुरा में है सबसे ज्यादा गुरुकुल गौशाला मथुरा में है वहां एक ऑटो चलाने वाला 50 का टारगेट लिया कि 2 लाख पर हेड मिलेगा फिक्स रेट है ब्राह्मण की लड़की है तो 15 लाख मिलेगा वैश्य की अग्रवाल की है जैन की है माहेश्वरी की 15 लाख रुपए मिलेगा बाकी यादव है पटेल है कुर्मी है केवट है मौर्य है तो 10 लाख मिलेगा वो दलित परिवार की SC ST की छांगुर का रेट जो पड़ा था वो 5 लाख रुपए अब वो जो ऑटो में चलाने वाला पकड़ा गया वो स्कूलों में बच्चों को छोड़ता था भाई नहीं लड़के तो चले जाते हैं अपने साइकिल लेके जनरली लोग लड़कियों के लिए ऑटो कर देते हैं मथुरा का वो लड़का उसको 50 का टारगेट मिला हुआ था उसमें 23 में सक्सेस भी हो गया हो 24वें में जाके पकड़ा गया हो और 23 लड़कियों से उसने संबंध बना लिए ब्लैकमेल करने लग गया उनको ये कड़वी सच्चाई है मथुरा की बता रहा हूँ भगवान कृष्ण की जन्मभूमि की बता रहा हूँ
Okay, so hopefully Anand, you understood what was being said there.
Yeah.
Shall I rephrase it for the audience as well?
Sure. Right.
So the person is he is a well-known Supreme Court lawyer. He's a Hindu activist lawyer. So he has mentioned that there is a thing called love jihad. And what is love jihad is that there is a specific ecosystem from money provided to people to just to go and like befriend a Hindu girl, okay, have a physical relationship with them, then take pictures, intimate pictures of them, then blackmail them that I will make these private pictures public, and if you don't want to do that, then you need to convert to Islam. So that's called love jihad. So do you think, and this is only one part of it, like as correct in Abrahamism, correct, whether it is evangelical Christianity or it is Islam, correct. So it is a duty of every Muslim to actually like it's a target given by their God to actually in your lifetime you need to like bring more people into your own faith. It can be Islam, it can be Christianity. So in that way every Muslim is trying to, or every Christian is trying to convert few poor people to their own faith. So, and now with institutional money, as he mentioned, correct, that for a Brahmin girl it is 15 lakh rupees. So, and so there is a physical infrastructure available, there's a money available, there are institutions available where get they know what is to be done. So now, is this something which is one part of it? There are multiple factors in it, but is this an existential threat to Hindu society in general? Because if you can like take away Hindu women, then your half the work is done. So
You,
yes.
you must forget about Hindu women for a second. That is just a symptom of the problem. See,
Okay.
I think this all comes back to a very important point. Original sin. And this is typical with Hindus. We forget how these religions came about. They came about because of the concept of original sin. This is very important. Every Hindu needs to learn this clearly and without the distinction. All of this happens because of original sin. Original sin makes it such a way that all are sinners in the eye of God. Remember, they have to think. If they don't accept this concept, they are not Christian, Jew, or Muslim. They are none of these three. They cannot be any of these three. Zoroastrianism doesn't have this problem, thankfully. It's also a monotheistic religion, but it doesn't have the concept of original sin. That everyone is sinful by nature. Right? So what do these people do? And each of these three traditions have a different end point, vision of an end point, and this is resolved. For certain traditions, it is like everyone must become Muslim for the end point to finish, and original sin must be resolved. Some will be like this, Gog and Magog and all these things, concepts that they have at the end of time will come and manifest. So that drive is there in their traditions. Some may not take it seriously because they want to be peaceful and they don't want to fight, but the traditions require this. So whether they are going after men or women, that is irrelevant. But they will have to convert, because people try to convert me throughout my life, and mostly Christians. They try to convert me Christian because I'm very open, like I'll talk about everything, and I'm okay with having friends in any community. They try to convert me. But why have I been able to resist it? Because I've understood the concept of original sin. Most Hindus don't understand the concept of original sin. They think, oh, there is another tradition. They just do different rituals. So they can be what they tell me is some friendly advice. No, they're telling you are a sinner. See, they say it very sweetly, but they're essentially telling you you're a sinner. You're dirty in the eyes of divinity. We need to cleanse you. That's why they go through baptism. Remember, baptism is not just putting water on your hair. You're cleansing someone of their sins, and the sin is intrinsic of you. Don't forget. They talk about untouchability, but their tradition itself treats the other as untouchable in terms of the divinity, in terms of what do you call it?
So in the Abrahamic concept, if you are not a believer, you are untouchable. You go to
untouchable. So for example, if they were living truly by their religious standards, which they were, by the way, for a long time, you would be kept separate from them. This has happened throughout history in all of their Christian majority states, Muslim majority states. If you are not pure the way they define it, you will be kept divided from them, untouched from them. That's just a reality. That's the way they used to live. That's why even in India, when they conquered India and they converted people, a lot of people didn't trust them. A lot of Pasmandas, they didn't trust them as converting from heart, because they were forced to convert through jizya or through threat of death and stuff. So what do? They kept them separate. They kept them away. The Ashrafs were the upper caste or class who were uniquely endowed by the Creator for being pure, and then the Pashmanda was separate. They kept them in separate enclaves and used them. Same thing in the Portuguese. What did the Portuguese do in the Hindus who converted to Christianity? They repeatedly went through persecution. Why? Because they were not seen as complete converts. They didn't convert pure. The purity of conversion was not there. So what do? They used violence and murder and torture and stuff. So we don't understand the framing because we don't talk about this on a regular basis. Because it's in polite conversation, it is rude. We're like, don't talk about this in polite conversation. How dare you? You are causing conflict within our people. But you need to be honest with the other community. Like, this is what you believe, you stand for. Are you saying you are tempering your beliefs because you want to live in a multicultural society, or are you saying you believe it but you won't tell me? That's it.
I am going to share you one more very disturbing thing. So just be prepared for this. And also for the audience who have joined us, it will also going to be a revealing thing. I have two things. Okay, hear this.
पॉइंट कि निब तो तैयार नहीं की, लेकिन इनको दवाइयां भी हलाल सर्टिफाइड चाहिए, इनको वैक्सीन भी हलाल सर्टिफाइड चाहिए थी।
तिरुपति बालाजी मंदिर में भी जो प्रसाद है वो हलाल सर्टिफाइड है। एक मंदिर में हलाल सर्टिफाइड प्रसाद मिलना ये कैसे पॉसिबल है सर?
जो पुजारी है वहाँ के, उन्होंने सुबह से लेकर शाम तक क्या करना है? प्रीस्ट है
जी,
आ रहे हैं लोग, जा रहे हैं लोग, उनमें से कुछ एक पकड़े गए हैं सैकड़ों किलोज का गोल्ड के साथ। अगर वो बता देते हैं, किसी को समझाते हैं कि ये हलाल सर्टिफिकेट मींस प्योरिटी की गारंटी है, तो वो नासमझी से हो जाता है। अवेयरनेस नहीं है, वो अवेयरनेस नहीं है, तो इसलिए बेटियां लड़कियां बोल देती हैं मेरा अब्दुल दूसरे तरीके का है। अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करने के लिए बहुत सिंपल सा है, बैन हलाल टू बी सर्व्ड फॉर हिंदूज एंड नॉन मुस्लिम्स। मुसलमानों ने
So you get it, or shall I need to like paraphrase it for you?
I'm okay, I got it. But you want the audience? You want to paraphrase for them, or I don't know.
Okay,
Sure, choice.
audience, did you understood what he said? Just let me know. I will paraphrase it, or we will continue our discussion because we are going in a very interesting paradigm. So we have temple prasad that's halal certified. So your opinion on this?
See, exactly. This halal itself is an example of purity and pollution. See, the problem is you don't understand this. Halal is purity and pollution. It is the same concept. Something that I can't consume this because it's not pure. The way the pak and napak. Our language has become so bad. It's been so perverted by the invader that you say things like, "Oh, usne ek napak kaam kiya hai," without realizing it isn't. Napak doesn't mean good. Napak means Islamic. Sorry, un-Islamic. So basically, anyone who's un-Islamic is dirty. Pak, napak. We literally take napak, which is what we are un-Islamic people, as dirty, as bad, as negative. We accept the framing. That's a mistake. We keep accepting this framing on a regular basis. It's saying, no, we will not accept these words. You want to use it in your perspective, but we will not accept it. So that awareness is not just about halal. Awareness is also about language, the way the languages you use, the way the terminology you use. Harami. Again, the word harami. Why do you use the word harami? There are other synonyms that can be used. Daridra,
Absolutely.
Kamina, all that you can use. Why use the word harami? Harami means you are a harami, you're an un-Islamic person. And that's what harami means fundamentally. But we use it because we've not thought about what we are using, the language we use. We use it because we want to just join the community as large. Right?
Okay, so yes. So correct. Again, I will come back to our primary topic: Hindu civilization question. Correct. Brink of extinction. So when you have Tirupati Laddu being certified as halal prasad, where do you think where we stand? Where we are standing? Are we on the brink of brink of extinction as the Hindu society when temples certify their prasad as halal? And to audience as well, audience.
No, but
Where
the
we are
point,
standing?
because we're trying to. There's a problem with the idea of secularizing Hindi religion. And I'm not a believer. I believe in secularism. But secularism means religion should be kept out of the state. It means even the state can't be involved in religion. So you can't be making halal certified laddus. It doesn't make any bloody sense from a secular perspective. Only idiots who understand secularism will say, I want to make halal laddus. Or halal prasad from a temple.
It may not be the devotees who are asking for this, but what is the state of Hindu society? What is the state of Hindu temples when such things are being done at a temple where people from across the globe come? Like that's why I have made the title "Brink of Extinction."
No, you have to understand one thing. When someone comes to a temple, especially if they're from 3 religions, they have abandoned some amount of their own tradition. Remember very, very clearly, the minute they enter a temple, whether it's a Hindu, a Christian, a Muslim, or a Jew, if they enter a temple, they've abandoned some part of their religious tradition or their religious dogma. So you don't need to, then you don't need to accommodate the religious dogma anymore. So, for example, if a Muslim enters Tirupati and asks for laddu, he's abandoned some part of his religious dogma. Means you don't have to provide him halal laddus anymore. See, you have clarity of understanding. There's a problem with Hindus again. They don't have the clarity of understanding of what is the people who are interacting with them. Right? When someone has abandoned those particular tenets, you don't have to adapt any of the other tenets either. Same thing. The problem with the Indian Muslim laws and Christian laws and other laws is because you've forgotten that when Muslims say they only want secular, public, like what's that, family law, but they don't want they want Muslim family law, but they don't want Muslim criminal law. Means they already abandoned a part of their tradition. Why are you adapting to the family law? So no, you have done the criminal law, you won't get the family law either. Because you've already abandoned that distinction. You've abandoned one entire part of your tradition. When you steal, you are not accepting your God's statement that your hands should be chopped off. Then if you abandon that, why should you get the other thing? It means you're a hypocrite. And unless the state clear and the Hindus explicitly state that you're a hypocrite, why should I adapt to you? There's nothing going to change. Same thing with Hinduism. With Hinduism, for example, when you have I think I mentioned this last time. When an anchor says that a Hindu has no right to commit suicide, what is he doing? He is framing the idea of suicide from the Abrahamic perspective, where suicide is a sin, like an unforgivable sin, and you put it into our laws. But in Hinduism, it may be a sin, but it's not an unforgivable sin. You will go through Prayaschitta when you go to Naraka or wherever, right? So our laws are being framed from what? Again, from a non-Hindu, non-civilizational perspective.
Got it. Okay, let me see. I have two more things.
Can I answer Lord Verzon's 2086 question? This is important.
Yes.
This is an incorrect framing, because if you look at the Hindu framing, everyone is Hindu. Vishnu didn't, who created the universe, Brahman didn't create only Hindu in India. He created everything, all Shrishti. He created Neptune, Venus, every bloody thing in the world, the universe he created. I'm going to tell someone who arrives from Venus, tomorrow is an alien in Venus. He arrives in India. You can say, oh, you're not Brahman's creation? You cannot say that, right?
So in our Hindu concept, even the aliens are Hindus.
Everyone, every creation, every single entity in the universe is Hindu. However, now I'll come to the caveat. You can say those who accept the Hindu traditions of that particular sampradaya and temple, only they can enter. That you can say. They must accept it. They must say, for example, if you go to Kamakhya, you accept Bali Pratha. You must, only then you can enter. We accept. No activists who say I am anti Bali Pratha can enter. You can say that. Make a clear statement. No hypocrisy. No. For example, there are Vaishnavas who say no Bali Pratha. Okay, you cannot enter Kamakhya temple because you're going around telling people not to have Bali Pratha. You can say that if you want. The Kamakhya temple can say that. Because you're a hypocrite. You're like, I want to be anti Bali Pratha, but I also want to enter into it, into Kamakhya. Those things you can make distinctions.
Exactly. So correct, and even you said it is there, correct. So like we had temples, and temples are generally governed and managed, and their rituals are governed by the sampradaya, correct. So in Hindu society we have sampradaya, and that actually that sampradaya decides how the temple is managed. Everything is like rituals, everything, even the god.
Exactly.
Devta. So see, the problem is that we are a so ancient tradition is that this 1,000 year is actually is very negligible in terms of the way we have existed. We now feel that 1,000 year is a very long time.
Yeah.
If you like consider the kind of work which is there in terms of vast amount of literature, wisdom, text, scriptures, traditions, and which are there, correct? It literally would take a millennia to build those things.
Correct.
So, like when you say 3,000, 4,000 years, you cannot have a Mahabharata in 4,000 years. It is impossible. That amount of diversity in one takes, it would have taken thousand years to actually make that thing happen. Anyway, let's come back to our
And
discussion.
again,
I'll give you.
the third point, practicality of denying in people, so-called non-Hindus, into temples is very difficult. How will you determine someone is a Hindu? What is the test, actual test you will do? Will you test by
Exactly that.
ethnicity? Will you test by some ritual that they have to do? I mean, if you can do create a ritual that is established for that particular sampradaya, and every person who enters a temple has to do that ritual, maybe that could work, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to actually tell people, okay, if you are coming to this temple, maybe just have a placard that, okay, you're coming to this temple, these are the temple traditions, these are beliefs. If you believe in them, come. If you don't believe, please don't come.
You can make it part of the undertaking when you enter, when you entry, right, into your temple, you have to enter with a form. And then you can do that, not a problem. Anyway, the temples require complex entry procedures because so many people traveling to these temples, it gets very overly complicated. So you can have that, a form that you have signed, and you may take an undertaking. It's possible.
Okay, but would that not exclude other Hindus of different sampradayas? By that logic, Vaishnavas should not go to Shiva temple or
No,
something.
no, I'm not saying
Anyway,
that. I think he got it. That is ego. You understood what I was saying. I was saying if the person is a hypocrite, saying, "Oh, I'm going to be an activist against Bali Pratha," for example, activist. I'm talking people going around telling you, "Bali Pratha is horrible, Bali Pratha is horrible." Why should they be allowed entry into Kamakhya? Or if they go into Kamakhya, they're a hypocrite, right? They're going to do activism, not to meet the deity, not to prostrate themselves from the deity. They're going there to be an activist. But if you don't have the activist nature, why not go? That's fine. Anyone can go in. My point is, I'm talking about the how you restrict entry. I'm not forcing. I'm not saying you have to restrict entry. I'm saying you can't restrict entry. Only sampradayas can decide who can come into their temple. That unfortunately you have to allow that. Sampradayas have a right of that. It's their temple, it's not your temple. Even if tomorrow, for example, if I really want to go to Shabrimala, I'm a woman of certain age. Just because I want to go, I can go. I said, no, I can't. I have to respect the Sampradaya. You have to respect Sampradaya.
okay, I'll give you one more data point which I have prepared to actually give my perspective why I think that Hindus are on the brink of extinction. Maybe not currently, but it is a trajectory that we are moving towards. And people whoever are watching, do subscribe to our channel, do share our content if you like it, and if you like to support us, please become members of the channel. That helps us to function in a better manner. And also you can scan the QR code if you feel lucky, so you can scan the QR code and help us. Yeah, Anand, so this data, so this data is from a well-known handle called the Indian Matrix. They do data-driven analysis. It's a very good handle. People, if you want, also can follow this on X. So they have done this data. So I'll not go through the whole thing. It's very lengthy. But what I will do is first show you the map. Okay, is the map visible or not? Yeah, map is visible. Okay, so the map shows mafia, migration, and maps. The Mumbai story, demographic change over the years. We have Hindus, Muslims, others. In 1961, there are about 88% Hindus, 8% Muslims, and 4% others. 2011, the last census was done. That time we had 67%, 68%, let's say, roughly 68% Hindus, 20.65% Muslims, and 11% others. 2051, the projection is we will in Mumbai, you will have 54% Hindus, 30% Muslims, and 60% others. So, Anand, are we going to be extinct in India in about 150 years with this data?
I mean, fundamentally, Hinduism doesn't like. I honestly believe that Hinduism doesn't require large numbers. If Hindus are following their traditions properly, they understand why they are a Hindu. The problem is Hindus don't understand why they're Hindu. Why are they? Why are
Okay.
people Hindu? This was your mom and dad told you to be
Okay.
Hindu, or because you want to be Hindu.
Okay, let me actually interject you here. So, like you are saying that okay, even there are 1% Hindus, it is good enough in India that we
Anywhere,
don't have to be.
I'm telling you, any tradition, as long as they keep
Hmm,
the understanding of why they are what they are, they can
hmm,
persist. Look at the Zoroastrians; they've been decimated, but they still
hmm,
persist because they have the gumption to persist.
hmm,
You have to have the gumption. You have to know why you are existing. For example, they prevented people from marrying into their tradition. Now, because when they do that, they lose numbers. Or a girl who marries out of Zoroastrianism, they're like, no, you can't be Zoroastrian. Then they're losing numbers because you have to have some amount of understanding of why you need to exist. For
hmm,
example, if you ask a Parsi, if I ask a Parsi honestly, do you think
hmm,
Zarathustra would want, Zarathustra would have envisioned where you decimated to 40,000 and you're like, it's okay, you're a woman who leaves my tradition, fine, leave. Would you have envisioned that? Would Ahura Mazda want you to create an exclusive system where no one can become a Zoroastrian? Would you look at the universal soul, Ahura Mazda? Would he want that? No, he would not want that, right? So, what is your answer to that question? So, until Hindus start thinking like that, do we want to exist the way we are? Or you want like just abandon everything and be materialists? Then if you want to be materialist, be honest, you want to be materialist. Don't stop saying I want to be Hindu. This is the problem. You're like, I want to call myself Hindu, but I want to be materialist technically. I want to abandon all. I just want to go to temple to show to everyone that I go to temple.
yeah, yeah. I got your point and understood, sir. But what I'm trying to get a point is
Hmm.
that correct. So, why do you think the Parsis or the Zoroastrians had to flee their homeland and come to Bharat? Why?
Because of one community, because of Islam.
Mhm.
Islam doesn't broke any other challenges in its power base.
No, no. What I'm trying to say is that why they had to flee? Like, why cannot they live as 1% in Persia? Why they had to flee?
Some of them
What
still
about?
live there. Some of them still live in Iran. But the thing is, the numbers are very low, very very low. The numbers are very low, but they still exist in Iran. The few exist. There are few like so-called non-religious communities, non-Islamic communities that live in Persia, but they're very small. They have no power. So the way Islam works is you take away political power from everyone else. They have to live as dhimmi, and people live as. But the group that came to India didn't want to live as dhimmi, and they came here to live freely. They don't live as dhimmi in India because they can do whatever they want.
Correct.
They can do it hands everything.
Correct. So, if that is your correct, now you come to the very important point that they live as dhimmis, correct, as a third class,
Yes.
still with no rights, still with no political rights, no other rights. Correct. They don't have any rights. So, as a Hindu, would you be okay living as dhimmis? Because if you're
Absolutely
only
not.
1%,
Absolutely
1%.
not. That's my point. My point is, if Hindus need to understand why they are what they are, they will not accept this change. They will not accept the fact that they are becoming a lesser number. The problem is Hindus are not understanding why they are a Hindu. What is the reason they are a Hindu? When they understand the reason why they're Hindu, they're like, no, I cannot accept this change, this dynamic change, this demographic change. And if Hindus understand the ideology that they're challenging, or the ideology that exists within their system, they're like, I'm sorry, but I don't want expansion of this ideology. I'm willing to let you live in peace as a fellow citizen, but your ideology will be limited to that particular amount of people. That's it. That's all. You will live in peaceful, but that many number of people. That's it. I'm not letting you go to a point where your political identity can overlay the Hindu identity of the state, of the nation. and you make a clear political statement in this. This is a problem with even the BJP. What did they do? They said, we want everyone to live together as equals. No, if you want the Hindu tradition to survive, you have to establish that the state is Hindu. The rest of the people can live in peaceful and practice their traditions without any assault by the state. But they cannot change the nature of the state. See, you have to be very clear. There's a distinction between pure secularism, the way France is, and the way a Hindu might want his secularism to be like. A Hindu may say that the religious and civilization identity of the state will remain Hindu, but everyone else is welcome to practice their religion in the numbers that they currently are at. But you need to be clear about that distinction. Very important. You need to be very clear about the distinction.
So you are saying that, okay, Swayambodh is the key to Shatrubodh.
Exactly, always. Unless you know thyself, you can never know what the challenges you face.
So now the question is that do you think that we are in danger of being non-existing?
I don't think so. I think that is a like extreme position. But I think there is, if people don't keep like the revivalism doesn't continue. That is currently, I saw a tradition of revivalism. Whatever, whether you're a Charvak, whether you're a Astika, whether you're a Nastika, right? I first of all don't put Charvak and Nastika. Them as separate. They're materialists. But Astika, Nastika, and Charvak, these three groups, whether these three groups are able to assert their identity in the Indian space. Like, you have a lot of Hindus who are currently saying they're Hindu atheists, right? But they don't know why they're Hindu atheists. Are they Hindu atheists because they've rejected Hinduism completely? And they want Holi, they want to go Diwali, they want to do firecrackers. Is it why they're atheists, or because they understand that they don't believe, but they understand the philosophy of Hinduism? Like, they understand about the universe. They understand that they're part of this universe, and they may not believe in the God, but they understand they're part of this universal concept of Brahman. Whether they have a divinity attached to it, not as a definition. That understanding needs to come, which is not there, unfortunately. I've noticed all Hindu atheists, all young kids who are like, oh, cool thing, I want to go to Garba, I want to participate in Diwali, I want to do Pichkari and Holi, but I don't want to be a religious person. Right? That's what is happening.
Okay, got it. So, like, if you're saying no, it's a fear-mongering thing and it's not going to happen, so the data which shows that,
it's not at that stage right now. I don't think it's at that stage right now. It can go that way, but not.
No. Like, if you think if it does not go, then what will we have to do?
You will have to, like I said, no, you have to know thyself. Until you create a system where you understand who is actually Hindu. First of all, a lot of these people who are not Hindus, who are claiming they're like, speak for the Hindus. Like, a lot of people who say that there's Vivek Srivastava. He's a communist. Okay. He goes on saying, I'm a Hindu. Because he's got last name Srivastava. No, first you need to understand clearly. The person can have whatever bloody name. But a Hindu is someone who identifies with the tradition and philosophy of Hinduism. So, for example, someone saying, oh, tear down all the rituals of Hinduism, all the traditions, all the philosophy. How can they be Hindu even if they've got a Hindu name? They cannot be Hindu. So until Hindus understand this concept that this person is misrepresenting themselves, this is because of their name, and you call it out. Don't wait for them to continue this narrative. Call it out the minute you hear it. Until then, you will not be able to fight this. I'm sorry that you'll not be able to fight it until you have this clarity of thought.
Okay, so I think we got it. Like, some kind of understanding we have that what kind of issues we face in terms of illegal immigrations and all the sorts of jihad. I think there needs to be a spectrum of jihad, from land jihad to halal jihad and everything else that is happening. Okay, now if people
and one more big issue. Go ahead. I was watching this video of Jay Sai Deepak recently. There's a video of him. He was talking about materialists. Basically, he was basically talking about Charvaks. Okay, he was throwing shade at Charvaks. He's saying that Charvaks are the ones who destroyed Hinduism. Have destroyed Hinduism. Well, at some level, you can say maybe the Charvaks did start that problem, because materialism fundamentally did throws away philosophical traditions. But the problem is not that. The problem is, see, you can have people who target your tradition and cause it destruction. But if your own system is not resilient enough, right? If you're not, the people who are following it are not dharmically sound, that tradition will not succeed. The problem is the Charvaks are succeeding because your traditions are not strong enough from the perspective of society. So, for example, you have some person going on like raping, like there are a lot of people going on killing, raping women, beating them up, and all this shit is happening in society. Why have the religious leaders not talked about this? Why have none of the tradition, Sampradaya people said, this is an issue, what are our solutions? What are the dharmic solution to these problems? Why are they relying on the state to do this?
Yes, but yeah, correct. If you remember, correct, we had a Shastri, you and I were there, correct, in one discussion where, like, like there used to be religious leaders who would be delving into politics. Now, out of it, suddenly, how the religious leaders are not political enough, or they are apolitical.
No, they've not
Like,
been political for so many decades. My point is almost thousand years. There have not been enough religious
no,
leaders who have been focused on the political policy understanding of society. How many? I don't know a single religious leader who delved into policy.
no, I think
Environmentalism,
Shastri
corruption.
had mentioned couple of political leaders who were politically active, Hindu political Hindu
But they were also
religious
like,
leaders.
for example, you take the all of focus on caste and all those things, not things that
No,
are of
okay,
practical.
okay, correct. Take the example, correct, Vakaligas in Karnataka. Correct, they are a religious sect and they are quite active. Like they
What is
make
it?
and break.
No,
No, no,
what is the
no,
fundamental
no.
thing as we talk about
What
environmentalism?
I'm
What about corruption? What about what do you call it? Assault, what domestic assault, like men who beat up their wives. Where is this discussion? You want a dharmic society, right? You look at the Shastras, you look at the Vedas, you look at the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and say this is what is these books talk about. How do you reflect it on society right now? There's no discussion on that topic. Have you ever seen someone, for example, say you cannot drag a woman away from her husband, like a religious injunction, right? That a woman is happy with her husband, you cannot drag and assault her the way Dushasana did. Which religious leaders talked about this? Where is this? You assault a woman, take off her clothes. Where is the debate in society that if you do such things, you will be punished in society in the afterlife? There's no such statements coming from religious leaders. They don't even want to talk about these things. What about corruption? If
no, no.
you're a
Why
corrupt
don't
person who steal from the
okay?
state,
Why? Okay, why do you think they don't do, like, your perspective? Why do you think?
I think because they're not willing to do the duty that they think everything's ritual, just doing prayer and doing doing in the temple, just doing a arti. That's all their duty is. It's become so simplistic. It's like I don't have any more role in society than beyond that.
But
Like it takes,
was this always the case? Because if you see, if you just go back a few thousand years, correct, you had Buddhist monks who were very powerful politically, Buddhist monks,
yes,
and also correct, you had Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma went to Japan and he was a very politically powerful leader in
because they
Japan.
understood what they how. That's why Buddhism spread so much more powerfully and has persisted so much more long in Southeast Asia because they took interest in politics. They didn't say, "Oh, we will be sitting in our house and we'll do prayer." You have to go beyond that. I'm sorry, but religious leaders have not done their overall dharma that they are supposed to do. My opinion. Again, I could be wrong. People can disagree with me. And like I think Lord Burzanen said, so some people say those people are wrong. They should talk about politics because other communities are talking about politics. The mullah, the padre, the rabbi, they all involve themselves in politics. You are the only religious leaders who don't involve in politics, and it's to detriment of society. It is to detriment. Literally, if religious leaders decided that, take for example, the temple in what temple is that in Kerala? How much gold was stolen? Have you seen a
Yes.
single leader taking, this is unacceptable, this is the punishment by Garuda Purana that you should be given? Forget about whether it can be implemented or not. But there is come and say this is what Garuda Purana states for stealing from Bhagavan. So society can understand, at least know what is the punishment in Garuda Purana for stealing from Bhagavan. Kuch nahi hai. Not one word has come out of anyone's mouth. They're more terrified of the state than of the consequences of the dharma. You see that, right? They're scared of the state. They're not scared of what will happen in Naraka or wherever the next life is.
Okay, so now the stream is open for people to join and share their thoughts, perspective, opinions, questions, whatever they have. I have few more things to. Okay, Anand, you have something to say from your end. You can go ahead. I'm almost done with my questions.
So there are a lot more parameters to this, right? In trade, for example. Let's talk about trade, right? Why was Chanakya such a well-known administrator? Because he had a plan for everything. He didn't just say, I will just sit in the court and then handle the 2-3 things that politics was allowed. He talked about everything, every part of society. He didn't abandon society. In Arthashastra, he puts everything into practice. And that's the point. The traditions, the Hindu people need to come together and say, this is what our beliefs are from our sampradaya, from the culture of sampradaya. What could be solutions to society? Ignore the politician. You rely too much on the politician. As Hindus, you rely too much on the politician. The politician will put forward his policy through society. But only when you decide what you want as a community will the politician be able to determine it. Or else he will have like 10, 12 people, influential people who will tell him what to do, and he will do it. And because you don't care beyond a point, he will implement that. Right? So, for example, right now, when you're talking about, let's take a contemporary example. As a Hindu, contemporary example, let's take it, okay? This is the conflict between Israel, US, and Iran. What would be the dharmic perspective? If you're a Hindu and you have to give a geopolitical analysis of what's happening. One group is inflicting pain on its female people, on all its people. This is not allowing them any of their voices to be opened. They are created a top hierarchy that has full control over the society. They are creating weapons of mass destruction with nuclear weapons, right? The other side is a large country, another Abrahamic country, religious country, and a smaller Abrahamic country who are fighting religious war with this another group, right? So you look at nuance. What is the benefit to Hindu society in each group? There are 9 million people of multiple traditions in the Gulf area. Their karma, their artha, their karma also is very important. So if you do an analysis of this and you give a bhashyam, this is what our tradition says about the situation, then the people in the society also like, oh, it is interesting. This is what you have thought about this tradition. Let me put pressure on my politician. This is what I want. Until you do that, the politician will not want to, doesn't care from the Hindu perspective. He will think about, oh, how to keep the LPG prices down. That's it. Which is not for Hinduism. That's again materialism, the Charvak. The Charvak focuses on materialism. So if you're abandoning everything, your Hindu tradition to materialism, then you will get materialistic answers. Then you can't complain that Hindu society is going away. Because your entire perspective is materialism. Is my LPG gas low cost? Am I getting food? Am I getting water? Am I getting enough money paid by my boss? Is my job? Do I lose my job? That's all materialism. There's nothing to do with your Hindu tradition. So what do you expect?
So this is the last news I wanted to share, that in the Tirunelveli district, one temple was destroyed by the state government and the revenue department. Not sure why it was destroyed, but this is the case. And the Hindus are powerless to do anything about it.
They're powerless because they've abandoned the power. No, that's my point. You abandon your power to the state. You say, I don't care about any of my about administering Hinduism. I will pass all the responsibility to the state. I only care about materialism. Material power is all I care about. Then obviously they will decide what they want.
Yeah, but do you think that happened? When did that? Do you like it was always the case? Correct? Not no. Correct. It was
It's
not
not always the case.
always the case. Huh?
So I will give it little bit. I'll give it to the Hindus to a certain extent. That what happened was when the Hindu, especially during the British administration, when all Hindus were pushed into poverty, into the land to become farmers, they lost a lot of their administrative and their political power. Right?
Yeah, because I'm sharing something which will going to complement your answer. Okay, so this is let me read it for the audience. Okay,
Sure.
so this is a post from Gems of Indology. So the post says, "Your great grandfather knew how to defend himself. You know how to call the police." So that is the now currently Hindus. The only thing they can do is call the police and help me. Okay, so the article says your great grandfather, people before you, knew how to defend themselves. You know how to call the police, not for sport, for survival, for honor, for community. So like they defend themselves not as a sport means correct. You had ancient martial arts like Kalaripattu and other things. So Kalaripattu is a kind of a ancient martial art in Kerala. Kerala. So it was not a sport. It was a survival skill for honor and for community building. Then came colonial law that Anand mentioned. The Criminal Tribes Act 1871 labeled indigenous martial traditions as barbarism. Kshatriya defense training became savagery, and wrestling akhadas were reframed as primitive violence. They didn't just outlaw practice, they reshaped our collective psychology. Now it is very important. Collective psychology of Hindu was replaced. Who did it? British did it. Grandfather's generations, I defend myself. Our generation, we will, who will protect me? So today the Hindus are asking, who will protect me? We went from communities with martial self-defense reliance to societies depend on state protection, from defensive capability to institutional dependency. Colonial policy discouraged indigenous strength, and we internalized the narrative. Our ancestors passed down martial wisdom, community defense system, the knowledge to protect ourselves. We deleted it, we delegated it to bureaucrats and police stations who gained when we forgot tradition existed. So this is Bhimbetka. So this is where we are now. But Anand, it's a very curious question, correct? How somebody can collectively distort our psychology.
Because it's all economics. It comes from economics. When you take away the ability of one's traditions
or
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 people to
or correct cash flow like one
exactly
comes of
ordinary
cash flow.
exactly my point. That's exactly how they, even though most Hindus in Tamil Nadu are very religious, but they have no political or what do you call it, religious understanding of how their policy affects larger systems. Because what did British do? First place they did that. They implemented that control of temples. So the minute you control temples, there's no discussion of how your Hindu tradition affects your political power. It went straight to other things, nothing to do with the fact that you're so religious. You would expect Tamil Nadu to be the most politically aware in Hinduism. Like say, this is what Hindu ideas we have, and everyone else should follow us, right? Because the British were the most effective there at taking over power. The temples took over power from the people. Like the government took power from the temples and took power from the people essentially. No, one more important thing, like this, I think this person said, तुम्हें संत से ज्यादा पता नहीं. Remember,
Ah,
Sant, there's no authorization for Sant. Sant comes from society. Society sees the Sant as doing miraculous things. Tyagaraja's music was what made him a Santa. Right? A Santa is one who does great deeds and becomes a Sant. You don't just walk around with saffron and tilak and you become Sant. No. Great deeds, you become a Sant. You look at Yogi Adityanath, he gave up his life for his
his
dharma.
name he forgo his name. He was
Yes.
something else. Correct. His name was I think Ajay something.
I don't
Ajay
even.
Bisht. Ajay.
Cool.
Yeah. His name was Ajay Bisht. He was from actually from Himachal. So he
Yeah.
forgo his family. He forgo his family name. He became Yogi Adityanath. So you
This is
have
for
to
dharma.
like leave everything for dharma.
Santas, what is a sant? Sant does through great deeds. So only the person who does great deeds can call them a santa and then say, and that's my point. That's why Yogi is such a good example. He is doing what is expected from other santas as well, other dharmic gurus. He is doing the duty. He's saying, I will. He didn't say, oh, politics is dirty. Then no, my duty is to my society. I will become a politician and I will fix society from that perspective. He didn't run away from it. And he's doing his duty effectively. Instead of, you notice, he never mentions his name, his caste name. It's the people who go around claiming caste this, caste that, caste oppression, blah, 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 who keep calling him a Thakur. He's like, I don't care. I've given up my Thakur, like my jati. My jati is irrelevant to me right now. But the people who are claiming they're very anti-caste are the one keep mentioning his caste non-stop. You notice it?
Yes.
It is the person who's obsessed. Doesn't say anyone who's obsessed with caste are the most casteist. Simple. Anyone who says I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, they're the ones who are casteist. The person who says my duty to my dharma, to my society is beyond my caste. You realize that their jati may affect their traditions, and when you go home and your family celebrates a particular festival, it may affect that, but it's not primary to your identity in your society, right? Because let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. All the jatis of the ancient times, that's like any of the jatis, right? They derived value from their deeds, not from their name. Very simple. Their deeds. They did good deeds. They did effective deeds. They got the veneration of the jati.
Karma was a foundation, like it was like a primary foundation of who you are. Correct? Your karma decided who you became or who you are right now. Correct? It was not something. So like you had to be competent enough to be called a Kshatriya. Just because you're born in a Kshatriya family, you are not. Correct? You had to go through the education.
Yeah.
Like correct. Because he will not be, say, like, if somebody is born in a Kshatriya family, he has not gone through the Shastra education, then how he will not survive? He will die.
How will he defend his people? How will he defend the people in society if he's not able to do any of that stuff?
So that's what, correct. So like if you did not do your karma, then you will not be called a Kshatriya because you can't fight.
Exactly.
And people actually, correct. You had Brahmin kings who were Kshatriya. Parshuram was a Brahman and a Kshatriya at the same time.
No, the fun. Forget about the circle, like the Itihasa people, right? Let's talk about what happened in reality, in real life. Let's take more recent times, not real life. Take Vijayanagara kingdom. The Vijayanagara kingdom was created by two Shudras, right? Two Shudras decided to do their dharma for society and build a kingdom to provide stability and prosperity for that group, that region. What did they do? They built the society. Then what did they do? They said, we need to elevate to Kshatriya to do more good. They went to a Brahmana. They told the Brahmana, we need to elevate to Kshatriya. Brahmana noticed that they're doing good for society in terms of protection of society. They had all the characteristics of Kshatriya. They gave them the authorization and the name of Kshatriya, or the Varna of Kshatriya. These leftists, instead of understanding this interesting concept, they say differently. Oh, look at these Shudras that go to Brahmana to get authorization. No, it is not going to the Brahmanas to get authorization because of Brahmana's power. The Kshatriyas have the power because they were establishing duty. The Brahmanas are providing them the service of giving them, like, doubling their esteem to do even even better duty. It is all, it's everyone just doing their job. When you work together in a large system, everyone's duty is something to the system. The Brahmanas happen to have the ability through his authorization of giving someone a Varnic name to improve their authority. That's all. It literally shows that you could elevate yourself to any level, whatever level you wanted. You wanted to be a king and protect everyone. You do a duty, you will get that. You'll end up becoming a Kshatriya. which is what Hindus need to bring back. This obsession with last name to me is ridiculous. What is your last name effectively explain about you as you as a person? You may have a last name of whatever Trivedi, Dvivedi, whatever other thing. Do you know three Vedas? Learn three Vedas, become competent in three Vedas, and then call yourself Trivedi. No problem. People will give you more respect. They're like, oh, this person Trivedi, he must know three Vedas. I can learn from him. He could be my teacher. But you're some young whippersnapper who's just gone to college. You've never read a single Veda in your life. You're like, my dad is Trivedi, you know. I also Trivedi, you know. So for me, again, someone mentioned the UGC thing somewhere. UGC thing. If you want to effectively beat the UGC thing, start implementing Varna. If you really want to be seen as a Savarna, okay, you want to be seen as a Savarna. Do the duties of that Varna. Get rid of your material possessions. Become a dharmic person. Become a Brahmana. Go start a Gurukul and train people in Vedas. You don't even need the state for that. You get your community to fund you and become do your Varnic duty. No, then you will get the esteem. You automatically get the esteem of that duty. People will bow down to your feet and say, "See, you know the three Vedas so well. You know it. You're teaching. You're starting Gurukul. You're teaching everyone. Give a surname. But don't be proud of that surname. Like, oh, this is my Varnic surname. I'm so great. Like, then you validate that surname. No, if you're a Trivedi and you want to give your child Trivedi surname, teach your child three Vedas. Simple. Then he won't have to live action role play. You'll have to actually learn the three Vedas. It's simple. And then if the state oppresses you, you say, see, I have done my duty to my Varna. You are attacking me for being true to my existence. That's all. Merit. They talk about merit. It's important. Merit is very important.
So we'll talk about, I think, merit also. There is a book, The Attorney of Merit. We can discuss that sometime. So last question that we will take today, that is, do you think the last post that we see, that we had discussed, is that today's Hindu only can do one thing, is call the police and say, help me.
Yes,
so
that's
do you
true.
think so will that Hindu will be able to survive for next 100 years?
No, I actually agree with. Ironically, I don't agree with Sadhvi Pragya on many things, but I agree with her on this one.
What?
Personal defense is very important. Every Hindu must learn personal defense.
No, but personal defense. See, again, if 10 people are coming as a group to harm you,
don't run away.
What's the personal defense? No. I'm not saying run away. I'm saying
no, but most will run away. That's the point. Hindus will run away.
No. That is not the thing. I'm saying, like, if personal defense is very important, but for a Hindus to survive, they need to become a community rather than individuals. Correct? That is something which is, because the other has live as a community, so they can support each other. Me individually can't support you, nor you can support me. Whatever happens to me.
That is all true. That can only change when you understand yourself. Understand why you're a Hindu. When you understand why you're a Hindu, you will meet people who also understand why they're a Hindu, and you'll unite in common purpose. The problem right now is people are not united in common purpose. They're united in common materialist gains. Oh, I want this water. I want Avian water. You want Avian water. You also want Avian water. We will have a shop nearby that sells Avian water. Okay. You want to eat chicken tikka masala. You want to eat chicken tikka masala. You want to eat chicken tikka masala. This restaurant selling chicken tikka masala is what will be next to our house. You want to buy a Mercedes car. You want to buy this Mercedes car. You want to buy this Mercedes car. We need to buy a house where there's a large, big road. That's how Hindus unite. Do they unite because they're, okay, this is what I believe. This is the dharmic beliefs I have. this dharmic beliefs you have, this dharmic beliefs you have. Let's live in a society that follows this dharmic beliefs, or in a region where this. No, that's not how you unite. So that's my point. You don't know why you're a Hindu, then you want to unite. What is the point of unite? You will not unite for no reason. Everything materialistic.
Yes. Yes. So okay. So now at the end, this is the book we are reading. It is called Swayambodh Shatrubodh. What Anand has also mentioned, but I would also recommend is that first you have to know yourself why you are a Hindu, how you are a Hindu, and how you can stay uh, remain a Hindu. And for that you need to know your Swayambodh. Why? Who are you as a Hindu? And then you will be able to know the Shatru, who is your enemy, who wants to destroy you. So this book, people should go and buy this book. We are reading this book on our channel. Let me share the details again for the audience. Here is the
One more thing. One more thing. Hindus need to learn
Go ahead.
humility. Hindus need to learn humility. Very important. When you are wrong, admit you are wrong.
Okay,
When you're wrong.
Arand, okay, actually, one thing we had missed, I just remember, because one of the like activists, Hindu activists, he mentioned that Hindus are too benevolent in their approach towards others, towards bad things. Like they accept bad things as something which is okay, it happens. Just take it on the chin. Do you
No,
think
that's,
Hindus are too benevolent?
it's more complex than that. It's become a society of who is the more dominating and scary, not who is the more right. Have you noticed that?
Maybe,
I'll give,
maybe.
I'll give, I'll give an example. I was crossing the road the other day, okay, as a pedestrian, okay. I looked behind me and I crossed the road. But before I could cross the road completely, a bike comes really fast and almost hits me. I tell him, can you not slow down? His response is not that, oh, I'm sorry. I broke my dharma. My dharma is to protect, to work in society. And technically, also true. Coming from behind and your pedestrian already crossing, the pedestrian is supposed to give the right of way. What is the reaction? I'll beat you up. I'm bigger than you. And the person is also Hindu. Good chances
Is
Hindu.
that is no? Well, see that I get the point. Like correct, we have this correct like deracination. Correct, we have a large section of population who are deracinated. They have the name Srivastava, but it doesn't mean anything in
No,
terms of
forget about the deracination. I'm talking about the understanding dharma at a complex level. See, we look at dharma in a very simplistic, oh, go temple, come home. No, dharma is when you have a conflict with your fellow Hindu. How do you behave? Do you apply the dharmic lens to your interaction? And if you've done wrong, admit you've done wrong and say, I'm sorry. I apologize. Can we resolve the conflict in the dharmic way? But no. Why do you have so many problems? Because, and we have to be honest about this, majority of the population in India is still Hindu. And if the majority of the population in India fixes its problem dharmically, we would fix almost everything in our country, including the minority will start following us. The minority always end up following the majority, especially when the majority is very assertive. But you're not assertive even that.
got it. So Shilpa Das is saying Purusharth, Bhakti, Sadhana, Gurukul, and Gauraksha.
See, you cannot have bhakti sadhana, you cannot have gurukul, you cannot have gauraksha until Hindus are dharmic internally first. Internally, you have to be dharmic first. First, another thing, if you are a Hindu, the moksha is the most important part of your society. Every action you do should move you one step closer to moksha. Are we doing that? If you're Astika, forget about that. If you're Astika,
Okay, one more thing. So correct. This is like where we actually a little bit diverge. But do you think this like internalized way of Hindus, correct, does like doing something to move me towards moksha has blinded us in a way that we are unable to see the enemy in front of us because we are too focused on moksha.
no.
Just I'm asking.
If you that's only if you're doing bhakti. See, there are multiple margas to moksha, right? There is Sharanagat, basically bhakti, full bhakti sadhana to Bhagavan. There is also your karma yoga you do. Do your duty to society. That draws you, they may guarantee you moksha, but it draws you closer. Why do Hindus have the concept of prarabdha karma and sanchita karma? Why? We have the concept of prarabdha karma and sanchita karma because you believe in the concept of reincarnation. And every karmic action that you do in your current life brings you closer to moksha. Right? So if you are honestly you're a Hindu and you believe in this thing, practice it in daily life. That's all. The problem is we all gone fully to bhakti. Like, oh, only bhakti. We don't care about anything. Everything else is unnecessary. This bhakti marg. That's it. I do prayer. But even bhakti, unless you have how do you know your bhakti has succeeded to get moksha? You will not know. God is not come and say, oh, you have finished your bhakti. Now you're 100%. Now you will get moksha. Right? So what should you do? Do your bhakti marga? Do your karma marga? Do both. That's my point. Everyone can't do bhakti. Like a person who doesn't believe can't do bhakti. So they can do karma yoga.
Yeah, I'm also going through this book as well. Book by.
He's very good. He's very smart. I don't see him as a religious leader, but he's very smart. He understands. He actually one of the few people who has actually taken interest in the societal aspect of Hinduism.
Absolutely. Yeah, see, end of the day, Sadhguru is doing his karma. Correct.
Yes.
He is doing his karma. Like whatever he's capable of, he is doing it. Everybody doesn't have to believe in his aspect of being a guru. People can actually help Sadhguru if people think that okay, Sadhguru is doing something good for the society. Go and donate to his charity. You don't have to believe him being a guru to actually help him. So that's what it is. That if you are capable of, go and help people. Like if you can't do, then help other people who are doing this for you. End of the day, it's all going to help each and every one of us to live in a better place. So thank you, Anand. Thank you everyone who have joined the chat.
Thank you for listening to me. And if I misrepresented anything, incorrect anything, it is completely my fault. And I accept that I don't know many things. But what I believe in terms of the Hindu consciousness is only like I'll repeat again. Unless you know why you're a Hindu, there's no way of building Hindu consciousness society. Until you as an individual.
Yes, and it is that's why we have this book, correct? That's why this book is there, correct? The book we are reading. So this book actually is what Anand is telling, that this book is talking about it. Swayam both and Shatru both. So you need both for a Hindu society to actually function, prosper, preserve its own heritage, its own tradition, and also again expand and research. You need both. You need Swayam both. You need Shatru both. So Anand is talking, focusing on Swayam both as a primary criteria to preserve and to remain a Hindu. Okay. Shilpata is saying reincarnation is not matter of belief or non-belief. It is proved already with so many cases across the world. Being a medical person, I read so many cases.
This is irrelevant whether you can prove or not. So that's my point. Hold on, I'll explain to you why this is a problem. Because too many Hindus are worried about proving it. Not required. You believe it, you do the action that is required of your belief. That's my point. You don't need to. That's why you don't need to go argue with the Christian or the Muslim or the Jew. Until you know, if you say reincarnation exists, what does our dharma tell us to follow? Follow it strictly. Follow it because you understand why you're a Hindu. It is not required to explain to them. Like the Christian comes stand in front of you and says, "You believe in reincarnation? Explain me. Why should I explain it to you?" It doesn't matter. I believe it. I will follow it. How do you think I'm not got converted to Christianity? So I said, I don't care whether you believe that I have original sin or not. I don't. So you can go pursue. Bye. That's what the
Uh,
self-confidence is required.
Yes, and one more thing. Actually, we had discussed internally. I think with a few of my guests who come to my show. Uh, there is a framework issue. Okay, so what we are doing is because we come from a colonial past, correct? So you take scientific method as one of the methods. The problem is we consider scientific method as the only and the ultimate method by which you can prove something right or wrong. So in our tradition, correct, you have a Shabda Pramana, you have a Pratyaksha Pramana, you have a few more other Pramanas which I'm forgetting. But the an- but the question is that as a Shabd you can take as Praman.
Yes.
For some aspects, your Shabda is your Pramana. Your mother says you are my child. Are you going to ask your mother go and do a DNA test? For a child and the parent, if the parent says you are my child, that Shabda Praman is good enough. Okay. But when you are when you are saying that this person has killed somebody, then you need to take the DNA test to prove that that person was there, where the blood belongs to this person. So the pramanas also have a frameworks. So you cannot put everything into the filter of this scientific method. So that also needs to be understood, and that's something maybe we can discuss this some other time with some expert to actually discuss these frameworks, because it's important that from a colonized perspective, unfortunately all of us has gone through this colonized education which has shaped our thinking in such a way that only this western invented scientific method is the only method by which everything can be proven wrong or right. No, we have our own frameworks, we are own independent ways of observing and doing pramanas, and we need to exert our way as well. That okay, if you want to I don't care how do you think, what you think. We believe in reincarnation. It's our belief, and we have own ways of e- extrapolating it through our frameworks. You take your scientific method and go to hell. So that we need to exert more, as Anand mentioned, very importantly.
See, I believe in the scientific method as a primary method of explaining the universe that we live in
Yeah,
currently. Hold on, let me explain.
yeah. See, one of the methods, like one of the correct, as I mentioned, correct. If you there are some aspect where Shabda Praman is good enough. There are some aspects where Pratyaksha
Yes,
Praman is good enough. So you have to take that. You have to differentiate and take that discrimination. Okay, where you want to put where.
exactly. That's why it requires philosophical understanding of why you're a Hindu. See, this is I'm telling you, so it all comes back again to that. The philosophical understanding of why you are a Hindu. Are you a Hindu because you want divine connection, right? If you want divine connection, pramana is not relevant except the fact that the Vedas exist. Your sampradaya as guru has said these are the truth, and this is all your divine connection, right? That's all you require. But if you want to understand the universe in a more material way, or you want to understand the universe in a more philosophical interaction between what do you call it, living and non-living, interaction between the sky and the earth, interaction between nature and self, interaction between your purusha and prakriti, then you go to other pramana. The Hindu, that's what I'm saying. No, a lot of this was supposed to go through families. Families are supposed to have a conversation with their children, but they've abandoned that duty of having conversation with their children about dharma. It is just a set of rituals. You used to do a set of rituals, and that's it. Over, finished. Why you do it? Why do you sit together and eat on the floor, for example? Why do we sit and eat on the floor? Why do we use biodegradable stuff for? We could have easily made plate with stone. Why did we use plate? We created with the plantain. Why did we not create find plastics and use plastics? I'm sure we could have. We bought created such gigantic temples, right? We could easily create a plastic as well at some point. Why didn't we create plastic? Maybe someone thought of plastic as a problematic thing. You never know. You don't know. I'm saying is so everything has a place. You have to think about it philosophically. Why you are what you are. Very important. Six primary
Yeah,
pramans. Yes.
but so
That's
so
one.
yeah, you have a pratyaksha praman, perception. You have anuman, inference. You have upamana, comparison between two things. You have shabda pramana, verbal testimony. You have arthapati, presumptions, knowledge obtained by postulating a fact to explain an apparent contradiction. Example: a fat person does not eat during the day. We presume they must eat at night to maintain their weight. Okay, and you have a anupalabdhi, non apprehension, knowledge of non-existence of an object through its absence. For instance, knowing there is no book on a table because you do not perceive perceive it there. So correct. So every pramana has to be exercised and used at appropriate instances. Where how do you do this? So there are different instances where you would use pramana. So
Exactly.
all things cannot be applied at once to everything. That's why we in that way scientific method is much more inferior. Anand.
See, scientific method was a very was created for a very simple task. It was created to understand the material world in its most simple form. So the most clear and most understand digestible form. It is not about philosophy. So even scientific method. Take for example Einstein's problem of relativity. Right? It started as a philosophical exercise, not as a scientific method. It didn't start as science. First of all, what does science mean? Science means empiricism. Empiricism means you can test something and repeatedly, and it should give the same result. That's what empiricism means fundamentally. That's all science. The people mistake science as explaining everything. Science means you to test a particular system, and the system must behave the same way again and again in the same conditions. Then that is science, right? When Einstein thought about relativity, it was not scientific. It was a philosophical problem. He did a thought experiment. For many decades, it was not proven scientifically. It was a philosophical experiment for a long time. Then, through experimentation, they were able to find that Einstein's theory of relativity fits some situations. Remember, it fits some situations at the quantum level. Right? Then they start thinking string theory. Again, string theory is a philosophical explanation of the universe. They should test it empirically. When it is empirically tested, then it becomes science. All of our scientific science is the last step of any philosophical thought, where you can empirically prove it in the real world. Now, if you're talking about, for example, the lokas, the 7 lokas, how would you do an empiric scientific explanation? You would say you start with a philosophical idea. There are 7 levels of being above the material world we have currently, and 7 levels of being below the material world, parallel to the material world in the data. Then you define how do you test these worlds. You have to test it first, then you would create a conclusion. Okay, this exists or doesn't exist. If you have not even created the testing parameters, you've already rejected the testing parameters, saying I will not test it. Then science obviously cannot prove these 7 things. You've already said no, I'm not interested in testing it. So until you create the parameters to test it, it doesn't become part, it becomes science. Right? That's all.
Exactly.
And you don't have to test it. You can say leave it in the sphere of philosophical understanding.
Yes, correct. You don't have to do that. Correct. Like, see, whether you can prove seven lokas exist or not, it is not having any material impact on your life. People who let them believe, then let them believe. Why you have to enforce your point of view? That's also very important point.
Correct.
Anyway, I think today was a very interesting discussion. I gave you some data points to ponder over. What will to happen? Audience also got to know a few things, maybe new things they have learned about things. So I thought okay, we'll continue this discussion. We'll probably have a Shastri be back in our next discussion, and we'll have one more topic. So we'll continue this series of Hindu civilization question. So we'll cover a lot of topics which relates to Hindu civilization, Hindus living in India, Hindus living outside India, how they perceive things, how they think the civilization actually means to them, a part of this heritage.
Exactly.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your comments, suggestions. Do subscribe to our channel. Do share our content, and also help us if you can become member or scan the QR code. We'll see you. We have podcasts coming in this weekend. Political, non-political podcasts are coming. They are being prepared. So we will have a stellar lineup this weekend. So, Jai Shri Ram, Vande Mataram.
Yeah. Vande Mataram.